Hello, and welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Uplink. Thanks for joining us today. We're here with the team from VSN, and super excited about this. We're talking about how they're using the People's Network to build out their ecosystem. So thank you very much, you guys, for joining us here today. And I'm going to go through just a couple of quick intros here and talk about Helium, and then I'll turn it over to Giannis. My name is Travis. I go by Teague over on the Helium Discords. And I'm developer growth lead over at Helium Systems. And this is a quick agenda for the call today. So we're going to go through intros here and I'm going to do a very brief overview of what Helium is. I know everyone here pretty much knows about Helium, and you're here for VSN. That's who you want to talk to. I'm not going to cloud this out. So this will just take a couple minutes, give you a brief overview, and then we'll go through with intros to the VSN team, and then VSN will be giving us a demo, which should be very cool. And then we'll have a short Q&A session. And so if you have any questions, what I ask you to do is go ahead and throw them into the chat, and we've got a team over here. We'll make sure that we get all of those addressed, and hopefully get some answers for your questions there. So about Helium. Helium was co-founded by Amir Halim and Sean Fanning back in 2013 to build the world's first decentralized wireless network. And this was done by simplifying connecting devices to the internet by rewarding everyone to become their own network operator. And effectively what this allows you to do is build out this LoRaWAN right now. Other protocols are coming, and it's a beautiful, beautiful system that allows the people to actually have compensation by providing network coverage or wireless network coverage. And at this point, we have an enormous network built out in just the past 2 years. So what we call it is an incentive built network. And so let's see here. We have some amazing backers with some of the best VC firms in the world who have really allowed Helium to become what it is today, and to be the largest worldwide LoRaWAN network. It couldn't have been done without these VC firms. It couldn't have been done without the investors. It couldn't have been done without you, because we are this network. We are the network. And it's something that it's fantastic to see that in the middle of quote nowhere, we have coverage. I mean, we can have a sensor network being built up, being stood up where there was nothing before. And so I'm very proud to be a part of this, and I'm proud to be a part of this with all of you. So thank you. So 470,000 hotspots worldwide. This is 36,000 cities, or actually, whenever we make these slides, they're immediately outdated. 159 countries. This is the largest LoRaWAN network in the world, and all of you are part of this. This is something that even if you're not running your own hotspot, your own gateway, you can get an off-the-shelf sensor and know when your front door is open securely. And if you haven't played around with this, I do recommend that you go over to console.helium.com and grab an account, set up an account. It's free. It's 100% free, and you'll get a ton of data credits to play around with. So we'll talk about that a little more here in just a second. But we have a very diverse ecosystem of companies, organizations that are building their solutions on top of the People's Network. And we're talking asset tracking, we're talking air quality, we're talking water quality, monitoring all sorts of different sensors. So basically, if you can sense something, if you have a sensor, then you can get this plugged into the People's Network and start feeding your data back securely into your applications. And just love all of these companies and organizations and schools and farms who are starting to build on top of the Helium network. Helium console. This is what I was referring to, Helium console. Go to console.helium.com, and this really gives you the access point where if I want to onboard devices, if I want to create devices to sense something, to pull data in to the people's network, this is where you want to start at. And like I say, it's 100% free. You will get a ton of data credits to start off with. It's a very, very low cost solution to get your data from in nodes into your backend, to your dashboards, to to however you actually want to make use of this data. Check this out. Please do not hesitate. There's no reason to. What we're talking about here is good night 3G. 3G is being good nighted, or I guess kind of put into the past by a lot of cellular carriers. And one thing about cellular networks is if I have a device that's running on cellular, then I have to deal with SIM cards. I have to deal with the cost of per device cost of maintaining these. Take a look at Helium. We will really make a lot of those headaches go away. And if you have any questions about this, then please please check out our site. We have information about moving from cellular over to Helium and to the LoRaWAN architecture that we have. If you have any questions, we have a huge Discord community, very helpful people over there. And we also have an extensive docs collection over at docs.helium.com. So, please check that out, and would love to hear any questions you have about moving your, kind of archaic, cellular ecosystem over to Helium. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pass over the microphone here. Would you gentlemen like to introduce yourselves and kind of tell us how you have been using the Helium network and the people's network to solve your data needs here?
So I would like to thank you everyone. We're VSN, Vibrant Space Network. Of course, you're gonna see like our presentation, and I suppose that it will be really interesting like to go inside like the presentation, and after we're gonna have like the time so people they're gonna be able like actually to understand like a little bit like more about what we are doing and how we are doing it. So again, everyone, we are Vibrant Space Network, and I would like to give like a big thank you like to the whole team from Helium, Travis, Timothy, and McKenna for having us today here at the Uplink. Vibrant. Vibrant Space Network, as we used to say, like VSN, has been added to the roster of Helium's companies providing smart solutions on the people's network using LoRaWAN connectivity. VSN formed in 2021 with focus on commercial and industrial IoT applications, and of course, following the bigger vision to a more interconnected world. VSN has already streamlined several projects in Europe and with public and private entities. And well, we are proud that VSN is the first company in Cyprus to offer Helium LoRa-based solutions. And of course, today, as Travis mentioned before, we're gonna demonstrate one of the solutions that we have. Let's go like and meet a little bit like the team. So VSN has positioned itself to achieve this vision with combined employee expertise exceeding 80 years across various disciplines and backgrounds, with operations in Cyprus, Greece, Bulgaria, and Indonesia. So as you can see, together also like inside like the team, and all of you gonna be able like to ask us any questions at the end. It's our CEO, Stamoulis, Thanos, our COO, me, Yannis Lapatas. Together also it's going to be Dimitris Saris, Konstantinos, who is also going to be one of the presenters, Valentin, and also Yannis. So we have like the whole team. We are like 8 people at the moment, like here, like, and be able like to answer all your questions. So with all these things, this actually diversity of the people that they're behind like this team, that's also making us being depicted as a community of people dreaming of a better world. All right, services. The services VSN is offering are the setup of the Helium LoRaWAN network. Of course, it's the diagnose issue, or we do the necessary improvements that are required, but also VSN and the whole team also are able to present solutions to the customers, identify the needs, find real insights, and make sure that we are solving for the right problems. So also we are doing the sensor installation, and my colleague Valentin in a while is going to present one of the platforms, that one of the cases that we have. So we have our VSN console onboarding, and of course at the end we are able like to support with different kind of measurements, quantification, and different kind of analysis. All right, so now I'm gonna pass the presentation ball to my colleague Konstantinos. Konstantine.
Hi everybody, I'm Konstantinos, I'm the CTO of the company, and I will be talking today about the first solution which we developed, the first IoT solution which we developed as a company, which is targeted at HVAC and IAQ monitoring. HVAC in this case, of course, refers to heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, or all type of equipment which is used to treat and supply indoor air into facilities. IAQ refers to indoor air quality measurement, and it can mean the measurement of all sorts of air quality parameters. So please, if we can have the next slide. The quality of the air we breathe is very important for our health. We know this from healthcare professionals, we know this from many studies. The air that we breathe is important to our health, even more so during this pandemic. So we decided as a team to really concentrate our efforts on a solution which is something important during these trying times. We know that people spend most of their time indoors. In the US, studies show that people can spend up to 90% of their time being indoor. So most of our life really is spent indoor. And we also know from studies that indoor air can be much more polluted than environmental or outside air. The main culprit in most cases, in larger buildings anyway, it's the HVAC system. When the HVAC system isn't working correctly, we can have all sorts of issues with the air we're breathing. So as I said already, we concentrated on efforts on providing a solution which monitors both the HVAC system, key parameters of the key working parameters of the HVAC system, and also we use IAQ or indoor air quality monitors to monitor various parameters which we care about to ensure that the air is healthy to be breathed. The consequences for business, of course, are many. Increase of sick days, so business productivity goes down and business begins to suffer when we don't provide the correct air to the occupants and to our personnel. So the solution for an HVAC, which is only safe while it is working correctly, is of course to monitor it and make sure that it is working correctly at all times without having any parameters go out of whack, without having any air quality parameters being increased or decreased. So the solution we came up to is an array of sensors, really a large variety of sensors, which monitor key operating parameters of any type of HVAC equipment, and also placing IAQ sensors in multiple key areas inside a facility. The list of sensors is quite large, but they can include refrigerant pressure sensors, constant energy monitoring of the HVAC system to make sure it is working correctly. Also, differential air pressure sensors, which are very important, even more so during this pandemic time, to make sure that the air is being filtered properly. And the air quality monitoring sensors themselves monitor 10 up to 20 different parameters like CO2, particulate matter, and all those type of things. So we use the data which we take from all of the sensors, and we feed it to the console which we developed ourselves. Of course, it runs on the people's network. And the idea is to provide actionable insight to facility managers, to maintenance personnel, and provide feedback that you have to change the filter, the air is not being filtered properly, or you have to increase how much fresh air is being driven into the building because the CO2 levels have become too high. If we can have the next slide, please. The benefits of our solution are many and significant compared to a conventional BMS system. So we have no hard lines, obviously, because we use LoRaWAN network to communicate with the sensors. The installation is quick and easy. A project can be carried out in a day without any issues. So it's very easy to implement in any type of existing facility, really. We offer universal compatibility with any type of HVAC equipment because we measure the key working parameters which are present in pretty much any type or any configuration of an HVAC system. And that brings about the other benefit, which the data from the sensor, because they're standardized, they're calibrated sensor, can be used in ISO certification if a company decides to do so. Of course, our solution is also much more cost effective than a similar BMS system, which monitors similar parameters. And last but not least, our solution is uniquely tailored to each customer's needs. With that, I give the ball to my colleague Valentin to present you the dashboard. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Valentin. Can someone let me know if you can see my screen share correctly?
It looks good here.
All right, perfect. So my name is Valentin. Part of the VSN team. I'm taking care of everything related to software, dashboard development, integration, data pipelining, data analysis, etc., etc. So as my colleagues mentioned, we offer a full lifecycle of services. And one part of the lifecycle is actually our VSN IoT console. So as part of our VSN solutions, we provide our clients with an interactive dashboard for monitoring the measurements of their sensors. So the dashboard provides an easy web-based access for all client personnel. It is cloud-based with close to real-time data streaming. And when I say real-time data streaming, I mean we pick up the data as soon as it becomes available. And we also provide historical data retrieval for quality of service certification purposes, as my colleague Konstantin mentioned. So one of the key things that we decided to focus on when we're building the dashboard is flexibility, flexibility, flexibility. Flexibility in the way that the dashboard could be restructured, in the permission levels, in the queries, in the visualizations, as well as any measurement pre-processing that the client might require. So the baseline here is that we can easily tailor the dashboard to our clients' needs. So as part of our solution, we offer a variety of alerting, such as email, SMS, Slack. We've also built a custom solution for automated phone calls, which would refer to highly sensitive measurement observations, which report predefined measurement abnormalities. Yet again, we're focusing on kind of industrial and B2B solutions. So some of the use cases are very, very critical. Therefore, we decided to kind of extend the normal stack of alerting with automated phone calls to the related stakeholders. We also offer integration of webhooks for custom client-side logic. If the client needs any triggers which are outside of our scope. So with this, I would like to present you our dashboard. So as part of our standard package, we offer our clients with a sensor overview dashboard and an individual one. So what I'm showing here is the overview dashboard. It allows for a high-level monitoring of sensor status and aggregated information. The clients can monitor the number of payloads per sensor over the past 24 hours. They could check active or inactive sensors and basically be able to quickly locate which sensors are down, which sensors are up, when the sensors are sending data, how many minutes since the last payload, and just get an overview of their whole sensor ecosystem for them. We also offer some kind of measurement overview. What are the latest measurements which were being received by their sensors, and clients also have the ability to monitor the individual sensor alerts. I'm going to go into a bit more detail in regards to that. Our second default dashboard is the individual sensor monitoring one. So what it does, it offers a more deep sensor specific drill down. Our clients are able to kind of switch between sensors and analyze the data, historical and real at the same time. So this allows them to select the parameters that they're interested in. So for example, for one of our clients, we have a sensor which is collecting information such as humidity, temperature, indoor air quality, CO2, particulate matter of different sizes. So clients have the ability to focus and drill down only to the parameters which they're interested in, and visualize the data in real time as it becomes available, but also be able to track it over a historical period of time, making identification of any issues very, very easy to do. So in terms of the dashboard itself, it has some default functionality. Clients can kind of zoom in on specific areas, and also kind of download a plot. We also have ability to extract the data in different types of formats, CSV, TSV, Excel file. Also some other components which we decided are important as our standard package is to show how many measurements were recorded on a daily basis, what the battery level is, indicating if the sensor needs to, if the battery of a sensor needs to be changed or not, avoiding any potential downtime of the sensor. We also aggregate some general statistics on the different measurements, such as what is the minimum, what is the maximum, what is the average value of the particular measurement for the sensor, for the day. The individual sensor alerts, which are recorded for this particular sensor, which I'm showing, would act as follow. It would be measuring the indoor air quality rating, and if this value drops below a given threshold, which is 80, or it could be lower, it could be higher. It really does depend on the client's preferences or the client's threshold. What this would trigger is an automatic phone call to the provided number, stating with automated speech, locating the sensor and basically saying what the problem is. We also offer additional metadata to be provided on the sensor level, such as location and additional metadata for more kind of easy identification of the sensor itself. This is our standard approach into kind of registering the sensors. We have one location parameter and one other additional metadata parameter. We could also expand this if we have larger clients which need more kind of location specific information to identify a sensor. And of course, we're also showing the DIF UI, which uniquely identifies the sensors. So we also providing some additional charts which are showing, again, aggregated statistics for the different measurements on the sensor level, such as median, minimum, maximum, median, Q1, Q3, and this is usually quite helpful for clients to understand how their parameters of interest are kind of varying. So I'd like to go to some of our queries to kind of demo the customizability. So for each related graph over here, it connects to our client's database, and this gives them the opportunity to write custom queries directly to their database, which we have set up for them, but also to customize the visualization. So let's say you have you would like to change the type of the chart, or you would like to change the lines. We can offer that. And again, if you would like to write your own custom query, that's also possible with our dashboard. So my name is Valentin. I'll be answering any questions related to our dashboard, how it works on the back end, or anything related that you might be interested in. And with this, I would like to pass the presentation ball to Yanis again.
All right. Thank you, Valentin. So this is what VSN is all about. And this is one of the solutions we offer as a HVAC and indoor air quality smart solution as a company. So we hope that after like this presentation, this short presentation from Konstantinos, Valentin, and of course like the whole team behind, we hope that we inspire you, and we are open to answer your questions, any questions regarding HVAC or IAQ solution sensors, about the platform that just Valentin just presented, or let's discuss problems and cases that you are facing. Back to you, Travis.
No, that was fantastic. Yanis, we do have a question that came through on chat that I wanted to run past you, and the query ability and capability of that backend is very cool, by the way. I had to throw that in there. But someone was asking that because a lot of HVAC equipment already has BACnet capability, which is, I guess, a protocol that a lot of this gear talks. they were asking, and this is coming through from Clifford Wholehouse, that does BACnet link in to the sensor network, or is this just additional sensors that go in and they're taking the readings and feeding into the system?
It's just really additional sensors. We decided that it's better to just keep it separate from the system of the client, to have a better overview of what's going on with the sensors. Also for the calibration of the sensors to make sure that the readings can be used in the future for any ISO certification purposes, as I mentioned. So it's really more about measuring with our own sensors the working parameters we care about on the HVAC equipment.
Okay, thanks, man. Let's see, another question coming through from Mike. So IAQ sensors vary widely. So you can have like a brown IAQ may give a reading for 400 ppm, and a Dragino in the same place may give you a different number, or a number double that or half that. How do you approach validating that the IAQ sensors are reading correctly?
What we would like to do in the future, because we are starting out now, is actually bring over a mobile laboratory type of setup, which actually measures the indoor air quality with precision equipment to make sure that the sensors are performing as they should. Of course, as I mentioned, we are also working with manufacturers who supply standardized or calibrated air quality sensors. But we want to get the further confirmation for really case sensitive, usage sensitive scenarios.
We have another question coming in from Chris G, asking, will the sensors only be for indoor use? And can the sensors be programmed or changed by the client for their needs? In other words, he comes from an agriculture background and very interested in outdoor sensors, or sensors that can be put into greenhouses.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Chris. I mean, the idea of the whole dashboard, which Valentin can explain much better than me, is that it's agnostic. So pretty much any sensor goes as far as it can send data over LoRaWAN, which the dashboard can receive and then interpret. So this is really just the first solution, but the back end, the backbone is there to really integrate it into different type of usage scenarios and different areas.
And it looks like just the screenshots that you were showing of your sensors, they look IP rated, right? And so the enclosures, at least.
Yes. All sensors have some type of IP rating, as far as I know.
Okay. Do we have any more questions for the team here while we have everyone online? Please jump in, and if this is something you can throw into the chat, I'll relay the question. Hopefully we can get some answers to you. What's the biggest challenge you've had so far? There you go. Okay, that comes from Mike B. So that's kind of a big question, but yeah, I'll throw it out there.
Does anybody from the team other than me want to tackle it? I'd say the biggest challenge is really treading on new ground, talking about a solution which isn't well known, especially in Cyprus, where we are located currently. It's hard to be the change, but we are getting there.
But someone has to be the change, right? So absolutely, man. He said thank you for the answer there.
All right. Valentin, How about you? What was the biggest challenge that we have faced so far?
Yeah, so okay, I'll go a bit more on the technical side. So the biggest technical challenge was to make the dashboard and the whole backend agnostic, so that it would be easy to adapt it to new type of industry solutions. Basically, be able to make it as flexible as possible. So this includes few parts in our development cycle. One of which means creating a standardized decoder function for all the sensors that we're bringing on board. So we have our internal standard based on which we're propagating the data, collecting it. So yeah, when you look at sensor data that is being piped from a variety of sensors, you could see that some of them have measurements in thousands, some of them have measurements in tens of thousands. So standardizing both the measurement types and also the values cross sensor, I think was quite a big challenge.
I've got another question here. Do you have any negotiations with big manufacturers like Train, Carrier, et cetera, going on with what we're doing here?
Not yet.
And
Okay,
and that comes through from Coca. Sorry, I just wanted to say that came through from Coca, from the community.
So as I was saying, not yet, but we are looking for leads. We are talking to the right people, I think. So fingers crossed.
Okay. Chris G has another question for you. One more question. I love your backend work. Will it be an open source platform?
So no. What would be kind of considered as open source? Everyone that starts collaborating with us as it becomes a client, so to say, would have kind of a open source way to query our database, which has their data. So we kind of open source their data for them to experiment in the way that they want to, or we can create the custom solution visualization dashboard for them. But the actual solution with the whole backend, it's not going to be outsourced, at least at this point.
But everything can be exported via those queries that you showed in the in the back end, and that data can then be operated on by whatever they want to build up, right?
Oh yes. So on the dashboard level, we're showing historical data to a certain point, maybe 5 days or 7 days. But also clients can request from us to give them all of their historical data, as we mentioned. For certification purposes, some of the certification companies are looking for historical data, let's say 1 year ago, in order to certify you or your business for being able to achieve their standard. So we could also fetch historical data way back, not only what is available in the dashboard.
Okay, good deal. Question. Let's see. Currently, and this comes through from Coca again, currently where you're using K&X, Siemens, and Schneider for BMS. I guess that kind of ties on to the open source question and the data exporting. And so if someone wanted to use those type of BMS systems, that's something that they could either maintain the data themselves, or in-house, or they could export from you and then import into those BMS systems?
I mean, I don't see why not. If the BMS system has the functionality, I don't see what's stopping them from integrating the data supplied by our sensors through our dashboard.
Have another question coming in from Timothy asking, could I use my own dashboard if you want to keep the data private and using your sensors? Can they use this data with their own dashboard? I guess that kind of goes back to the data exporting and what we kind of covered here. But it seems that that should be completely allowable there, right?
Yeah, that would be completely allowable. We currently do not have this in place, but it would be kind of straightforward to implement. We would be able to kind of forward all the data to your database, and you will be able to use your dashboard, or we can provide you access to the database that we host for you. Both options would be possible, although not at this point, but in the near future.
I got a question coming in from Mike B again, and I've got to say that he has a lot of dashboard experience, and he's got a question: why did you decide to roll your own dashboard rather than using one of the existing providers like DataCake or Ubidots, or some of the dashboard providers on the IoT market right now? Why'd you roll your own?
Can I answer this one, Travis? Hi, I am
Please
Simon.
do. Hey.
Okay, we have tried to use several of the already existing consoles, and without having to do with their performance, we were not happy with the possibility to implement and integrate different kinds of sensors. So the key to our platform is what Valentin said. So we try to make an agnostic platform, so everyone can give us, or we can decide to integrate any kind of sensor. So that is the one key. And the second one is that we have this big let's say, a set of alerts, which gives a big flexibility, because we didn't want to see the use of the platform from the side of the programmer, but from the side of the end user. So, for instance, we have been looking to get telephone alerts. You have one refrigerant going, one HVAC going down in the middle of the day, and you get an email or an SMS, and maybe you cannot see that where you're there when you're doing something else. So we actually have a pre-recorded phone call. So we thought that there are things that are important to the professionals in every sector, and that's the reason why we decided to go on creating our own console.
Thank you. Another question. I'm going to get hit for this one, but what's been your experience with the reliability of the Helium console in relationship to your platform? And this comes through from Gary. I see you smiling over there, sir.
Valentin, it's for you.
I think this question has kind of a couple of answers. Okay, but actually focusing on the console, I found the Helium console really easy to use. So the integrations, like the pre-made integrations, work very smoothly. But one thing I really like about the Helium console is the flow functionality, which gives both me and my colleagues the opportunity to easily kind of cluster and add new sensors without having to do new integrations. So it is very user friendly. We use Helium console as the first part of our sensor onboarding process, and we have automated everything downstream. So yeah, well, for now, experience quite reliable, and I love the Flow UI. Good job, guys.
And just to kind of tack onto that, what you're talking about with the Flow UI is a new piece of functionality that was added onto Console 2.0 that gives you a very visual workflow of how your data moves through from device to an integration. Which you can see at console.helium.com. So please grab an account, and flows are on the upper left. You can play around with those. And no, I think it's great. The console team has been doing just a slam job over there. And I think flows have really made the whole console a lot easier to use, a lot easier to, kind of wrap your head around, rather than having to deal with labels everywhere. I think it's just fantastic the work that they've been doing. So very cool, man. Thanks. So I've got another question coming in from Frederick. So this may have been addressed, but can this be used for some type of home use rather than just a corporation, I guess? And so, if you have a house set up, can I use this?
I mean, I don't see why not. The good thing about using LoRaWAN and the People's Network Helium as a way to do our business is really the low cost of the sensors of the solution itself. So if you want to use it at home, more power to you. Why not? Like you can have access to the dashboard. It can be catered to your needs to get an alert if some of the parameters start going awry. So yeah, it could be used for at the home.
Got a question from Chris G again. What is the base price for each sensor? Will people need to buy in bulk since you cater to larger businesses rather than, I guess, a home environment?
We do not have standard prices, so every solution is tailor-made. So depending on the needs of each customer, we set up a viable scenario for all of us. But the key is that it is an affordable solution. And
so give you a call, right?
Yes. And I just wanted to add that our sensors have an IP67 rating. So they can actually be used outside in the mobile air or for the agricultural project the friend was asking before.
Yes. No, perfect. So basically, as long as you're not putting the things underwater, they should work in an outdoor environment. So excellent. If we have any more questions coming in, I don't believe I've missed. I think I've addressed all of these except for one, which is not in English, and I'm very sorry. That's really the only language I can field here. If that could be rephrased into English, then I will definitely pass that on to the team. So will you field a couple of my questions now? Because a lot of people already have systems in place for HVAC monitoring, and is this something, and I'm not a huge fan of the term, but a bolt-on solution, is this something that I can bring into a working environment that, everything, I've got this set up, it's worked for years, but I want some more granularity as to my monitoring and my alerting of the system. This is something that I can just kind of bring in, and I don't have to replace all of my gear, right? I mean, this is something that I can kind of tack on, or bolt on to my system and get this, functionality, added onto my system without having to go through and do an expensive replacement, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can do that, Travis. Konstantin, please.
No, I mean, absolutely. Why not? You can never have too much information about your facility. If you have multiple reference points, that's even better, because then you can make sure that both systems are working correctly. But what you are describing is one of our main usage scenarios, because most large businesses already have some type of a BMS system in place. So it's just adding on top of that. It's adding value to your already existing solution. You don't have to replace anything, especially if it works good for you.
And to add to that, I mean, if I have, some type of custom dashboard already that's written up, and I'm using Amazon or AWS, for example, That's something that from the Helium console, I can kind of push this data from all of these sensors over into AWS and then deal with an existing custom, system on that end without making everyone, looking for my head, right? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. Travis, we have a question, I see.
Oh, okay. Yes. Could it be used with mobile equipment? For instance, like a fire, smoke, water damage company? Is that implementation that you could roll out here?
We can integrate any sensor that can be integrated either directly or via Modbus on Helium console, and then we take the data from there. I mean,
let's talk about Modbus for a second, if you don't mind, since you brought it up. So this is what RS-485. A lot of HVAC kind of talks Modbus, right? And there are devices, actually, Dragino, for example, makes one that is a protocol. It's about this big. It's a device that you can throw in that will translate between Modbus or RS-485 to LoRaWAN, and it works great on the Helium network. And so I guess using a device like that really opens up a huge window there for Modbus compatible devices.
Konstantinos is actually developing something like that. We have already Dragino Modbus on the way, and analog sensors and other ones to test for different applications on the HVAC.
Very cool. Very cool. Another question, if I have just, okay, say I have some kind of random sensor like this, all right, and it talks something, it can talk LoRaWAN, and it's hooked up with let's say some air quality sensors, right? And I want this to be in my dashboard with you guys. How do I get this random thing that I happen to build up talking through the dashboard with the same sensors that you have provided?
Well, we can integrate anything, Travis. So from the moment you already connect this on the console, we get the payload, we translate it, it's an agnostic platform, and we integrate it. Now, the visualization you are going to discuss with Valentin, and depending on your needs, you can adjust both the alerts and everything else that could be needed.
Cool. Very cool, man. Another question coming through from Timothy. Could it be used? Sorry. Next one. Coming through from Gary. What's been your experience with the accuracy of your pressure differential sensors? Very specific question.
Well, we are using modules which are manufactured by Sensirion, so their quality is really good. I mean, they provide some great accuracy.
And Chris wanted to say thank you guys. He'll be into contact with you, and you're getting thanks from Gary. I don't know. Everyone's thanking you for your time here today. Thank you very much for giving us the information and letting people kind of poke around about in your heads about what we're talking about here. This is cool stuff, and I'm very excited to hear about being able to onboard. A question I do have: if I onboard one particular sensor or work with you, and say, look, this is how this should be displayed. This is how this should be decoded, I guess. For the data types that I'm pushing across to you. And then I want to do 100 of those sensors. I only do that once, right? I mean, we do that once, and then, it's on board. It's I don't have to deal with that ever again.
This is automated. I mean, if we create the whole, line on the console, then every time you get a new sensor, it will be automatically displayed on your dashboard. You actually need to do nothing.
Very cool. I like doing nothing. That's no, That's a winning factor.
Yes, because Valentin has done all the work before.
There we go. Someone's got to do something, but yeah, it's just not everyone. So, well, very cool. I've got a question. If I want to embed part of the dashboard into like my company's website, if I want to say, okay, you're logged into our CMS on the back end, and I want to be able to see what the air conditioning units are doing, throughout building 3. Is that something that I can I can embed that code, or I can kind of integrate that iframe? I don't know what we're calling it here.
So
But,
so you could use iframe in order to integrate a particular visualization, or you could integrate basically the whole dashboard. Of course, it's going to be like a bit static, so it's only for visualization purposes. But yeah, using iframes, authentication, and that's it.
Or if I want to have a big screen TV, whenever people walk in my building, I can have the dashboard, running up on that, so people can see, what everything's doing there, right? Very cool.
You just full screen it. That's it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you guys. Is there anything else you'd like to ask about Helium, or anything you want to talk about your experience with Helium, or how everything's been working, because you're very, very much in the field, especially with HVAC. How does LoRaWAN work for you? I mean, we're talking about kind of in the guts of things. Are you happy? I mean, do you like the coverage? Do you like the the accessibility of your sensors there?
Helium has been very kind to us. Yes, we love the solution. We love what you guys do.
Cool. Well, I'm very happy with what you're doing, and if someone wants to, like the question was asked earlier, if someone wants a little more information about implementing this, not necessarily in a business solution, but on more of a personal, like, hey, I've got a house system, or I've got a multi-zone house, or I have a house with a back house, and I want to be able to monitor this. This is something that they can reach out to you and get a little more information about?
Yes, they can do that. And if we are not in position to help, we will most certainly give them all assistance they can get to find someone and help them out on this. So yes, everyone can send us a message, and we will help them out.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today on the Uplink. I appreciate your time, and hopefully, a lot of folks in the community will reach out and get some more information about what you folks are doing. This is very cool tech, and I'm excited to see it running on the People's Network.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you again, Travis. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.